My name is Elena, and this all started 5 years ago when I was 25, fresh out of college and broke as hell. I moved to this sleepy little town in the Midwest, thinking it'd be a quiet place to figure out my life. Little did I know, it was a hotbed for secrets, the kind that involve wrinkled hands and hungry eyes. The old men in that town weren't just retired golfers or grumpy grandpas. They had appetites, voracious ones, and somehow I became their feast. It began innocently enough. I took a job at the local community center, organizing events for seniors. That's where I met Harold. He was 72, silver-haired, with a twinkle in his eye that screamed, "I've got stories." He was always the first to arrive at bingo night, and the last to leave. One evening, after everyone else had gone, he lingered by the door. "Elena," he said, his voice low and gravelly, "you remind me of my youth. Care to join an old man for coffee?" I laughed it off at first. Coffee? Sure, why not? But that coffee turned into late-night chats at his cozy bungalow. Harold was a widower, lonely but sharp as a tack. He talked about his days in the war, his lost loves, and then he confessed. "I've always had a taste for the forbidden," he whispered, leaning in. My heart raced. What did he mean? Before I could process, his hand brushed my thigh. "Let me show you," he said. That night, under the dim light of his living room lamp, Harold knelt before me like a devotee at an altar. His experienced tongue, oh God, it was like nothing I'd ever felt. Old men eat my puss. Harold devoured it. He knew tricks no young guy ever bothered to learn. Slow circles, gentle pressure, building waves that crashed over me again and again. I was hooked. Word spread in whispers among the seniors. Next was George, 68, a retired professor with a library full of erotic literature. He invited me over under the pretense of discussing books. "Ever read Anne Nin?" he asked, handing me a worn copy. As I flipped through the pages, his eyes lingered on my legs. "Literature comes alive when experienced," he murmured. Before long, we were on his Persian rug, and George approached it like a scholar. Methodical, exploratory, finding spots I didn't know existed. His beard tickled, but his expertise was mind-blowing. I left his house trembling, craving more. These weren't random encounters. There was a club, a secret society of these old-timers, calling themselves the Vintage Connoisseurs. They'd meet in the basement of the community center, sharing stories of their conquests from decades ago. And now I was their new obsession. Victor 75 was the ringleader, a former Hollywood producer with tales of starlets and scandals. He was bold, pulling me into his Cadillac one afternoon. "Darling," he said, "let an old pro show you heaven." In the back seat, overlooking the town lake, Victor's mouth worked miracles. He hummed tunes from the 50s while he did it, vibrating sensations that sent me over the edge. It was surreal, intoxicating. Why did I keep going back? Power. These men worshipped me. In a world where young guys treated me like a swipe-right option, these elders made me feel like a goddess. Their gratitude was endless. Gifts poured in, jewelry, cash, even a car from one of them. But the real thrill was the risk. What if someone found out? The town was small. Rumors simmered. My best friend, Sarah, started asking questions. "Elena, why are you always at the center?" I dodged, but the guilt gnawed at me. Was I using them? Or were they using me? Then came the turning point, the night that almost broke me. It was a group gathering. 4 of them. Harold, George, Victor, and newcomer Reginald, 80 but fit as a fiddle. They blindfolded me, led me to a candlelit room. "Tonight we feast together," Victor announced. One by one, they took turns. It was overwhelming. Waves of pleasure mixed with chaos. Tongues everywhere, hands holding me steady. I lost count of the climaxes. But in the haze, I heard whispers. "She's perfect. Just like the others." Others? What others? I confronted Harold later. "What do you mean, others?" He sighed, pulling out an old photo album. Pages filled with pictures of young women from the 60s, 70s, 80s. "We've been doing this for decades," he admitted. "A tradition. Keeps us alive." My stomach dropped. I wasn't special. I was the latest in a line. But then he dropped the bomb. Some never left. They stayed, married us, inherited everything. These encounters weren't just flings. They were auditions for a lifetime of luxury. Shocked I was too. Reginald, the oldest, proposed that very week. "Marry me. Elena, I'll give you the world." He wasn't kidding. His will showed millions. But love, or lust, I wrestled with it. Meanwhile, the encounters escalated. Double teams, toys from their collection, antique vibrators that hummed like relics. One night, George read poetry while Victor performed, blending intellect with ecstasy. It was art in a twisted way, but cracks appeared. Jealousy brewed among them. Harold accused Victor of hogging me. Fights erupted at meetings. I became the prize in their geriatric war. Then, disaster. Sarah walked in on me and George. "What the hell, Elena?" she screamed. The town exploded with gossip. "That girl's corrupting our elders." I had to choose, run or fight. In the end, I didn't marry any of them. Instead, I turned the tables. I documented everything, anonymously of course, and sold the story to a tabloid. "Old Men's Secret Society exposed." Headlines blared. The men scattered, but not before wiring me hush money. I left town rich, wiser, and satisfied. So old men ate my puss, and I ate their world. Age is just a number, but power, that's eternal.